to introduce Dr. Linda Berry. She has been helping her patients to go from extreme pain to vibrant health for over 43 years. So she's very accomplished in many areas and humble. So she's a chiropractor and functional medicine expert, published author, and what else? She's gone through your own journey. She's had her own challenges. Dr. Linda was purple belt in karate, and she was a modern dancer and choreographer with the American Dance Asylum. And then, unfortunately, she had a devastating motor vehicle accident, and she recovered.
Here I am.
Which is miraculous, and that was the impetus for you to learn about healing and all the different modalities. So I've had the pleasure of working with Dr. Linda, as has my husband, and I know that she's an expert from head to toe to heal you, and using a wide range of modalities that work. So she's amazing.
That's enough.
What's that?
That's enough.
And that's enough. And we're good.
So you're going to need my...
I'm going to sit over here and turn the pages.
Okay, great. So if you'd like to live long and healthy, this is a talk about that. And we're looking at the blue zones. So you see that there's 5 areas of the world.
Can you have a microphone?
There are 5 areas of the world that are designated blue zones. So I'm going to tell you, these are a book by Dan Bittner called Blue Zones. I think he's multiplied his books on that. But he talks about why people have lived long and healthy in these areas. So you see the first area is in Loma Linda, California. And living there are Jehovah's Witnesses. And the reason that they thought that they live so long is because they eat 10 servings of vegetables every day. And they have a faith-based community, so they've got good community. And also, they walk a lot. They don't drive on Saturdays. That's one of their rules. Then we look at the next place, Costa Rica. And in Costa Rica, they live long and healthy because they pick fruit right off the trees in their yard. And also, they have very easy social mores about marriage. So they have no strict rules about staying faithful to your spouse. In the next area, over there in Italy, well, those guys are sheep herders. And so they're going up and down steep hills. They're getting lots of exercise. They're out in nature. And another factor they thought was because they drink red wine that's very high in antioxidants. The grapes there apparently are exposed to so much sun that they need to produce a lot of antioxidants in order not to shrivel up and not be grapes anymore. And then we'll skip over to Japan, and in Okinawa, people live very long and healthy, and the reason that they feel that they live long and healthy is because they do their own gardening and they eat their own vegetables, and they spend time in nature, and they have sort of this purpose in their life that they're growing food to feed themselves, and they have friends. Then the last place is in Greece, and that's kind of a combination. So they move a lot, they've got good community, they have a healthy lifestyle, and they've got purpose in their life. So in this presentation, we're going to look beyond what they do, because maybe you don't want to cheat on your spouse, that might not work in this culture, and maybe you don't want to climb hills all day long, and maybe 10 vegetables a day is a little bit high, so we're going to look at what else might be helpful for you. So in this talk, we're going to be talking about what actually takes you away from health and what brings you back to health. We'll talk about healthy mind platter, and also my healthy plate, like we had tonight. We'll talk about movement and meditation, and then we'll have a summary. And you already know about the gifts. So the next slide, please. So we see, this is my model for how I take care of patients. In the center here is Health Haven. That's where you're comfortable, things are good, and you're happy in your body's doing all right, and in your life as well. Then if you look down here, structurally we can get messed up. So one of the things I do with my patients is I have them stand and I look at their postural presentation. So people are often like this, or they're like this, or they're like this. And so those create stresses on your nerves. And I wanted to show you this. I know you can't see it, but this is a nerve function chart. You can find it online, I'm sure. And you can see that it's showing a woman with her vertebra. And from each of the vertebra, you can see that the nerves from the vertebra go to different organs, glands, muscles, joints, and even the brain. So when you're not aligned, when your body's not balanced, then it creates stress so that you're not getting the proper nerve, blood, or lymph supply to your cells, your organs, glands, etc. And then we've got over here, the picture's not very big unfortunately, but this is kind of like what a lot of Americans eat. So did anybody hear the acronym for the American diet? It's SAD. So the standard American diet is way too high in fats, it's way too high in sugar, it's way too high in refined carbohydrates, and it's poor in things that will create health. Now here we're in Marin, we tend to eat healthy. It might not be an issue for you, but I know I personally have an ice cream addiction, so I could do better on that level as well. And then we look at stress. So it's a stressful time in our lives. We're all business women trying to create income for ourselves, for our families, trying to do good in the world. Political situation's crazy, we're wrecking our planet, you know, there's like one thing after another that can just stress us out. Plus, you know, what happened to you when you were young? 25% of women, and that may be a low estimate, have been sexually violated by someone. These are patterns that get in the body. Maybe you've had medical trauma. There's lots of things. How did your peers talk to you? Middle school is terrible. You know, so what kind of conditioning did you get? That might have created some stress that's still in your physiology, in your nervous system. And then finally, you can see here, maybe not very well, but those are high tension wires. So this is electromagnetic stress. And in the last 10 years, we are now, with all the satellites that are circling the Earth, we are now exposed to 16 quintillion times more radiation now than we have been in the last 10 or 11 years. So that's very disturbing for our physiology. Plus high tension wires, plus cell towers, and none of us are going to get rid of our cell phones. So we're getting a lot of radiation that's creating problems for our health and pulling us away from that center of radiance of Health Haven. Next slide, please. So these are the issues that can help to bring you back to Health Haven. So in the structural realm, there's Dr. Linda giving a gentle chiropractic treatment, no cracking, but also exercises, massage, physical therapy, all types of things, Alexander technique, you know, there's just a zillion things, especially here for us in the Bay Area, that can help bring you back to balance in your structure in your body. Then we look at the nutrition, and we'll talk more about that, but you know the expression, you are what you eat. Well, you're not really what you eat, you're what you digest and absorb. So people who have gastrointestinal problems, even if they're eating the healthiest food, they're not going to be able to get benefit from it. And we'll talk about that more later. And then in the mental, emotional, and spiritual realm, finding a life purpose, and we've all got businesses here, families, so that creates a lot of life purpose for us. But also, maybe the highest level of what we can achieve is something called contentment or peace, to be able to be okay and not be jostled by the vagaries of the world and what's going on. Then if you look over here at the right, your left, right there, there are tools that you can use. I'm a distributor of products from a company called Centropics, And these help to build, did you know that your body is both electrical and chemical? So all of your cells have an electrical charge. For instance, mitochondria, which creates the energy for us to operate, operates at 14 hertz. And then the synapse between nerves, the information relay that goes from the brain down the nerve to the target, actually fires at 200 hertz. So these devices, they help you to reset the optimal level of your bioelectric field. So this is one of them, it's called a bubble. And then also you see the black square up there, it actually expands to a massage-sized table, is called the cloud. Next, we'll talk about the Healthy Mind Platter. And this is the genius of Dr. Dan Siegel. He's written many wonderful books. He's a professor of psychiatry and an MD at UCLA, and he's also the executive director of the MindSpring Institute. So Dr. Siegel has come up with 7 different factors that are necessary for a healthy mind. And we all know that our mind affects our body. We can't separate the two. So first is sleep, and that's why I'm offering you, if you have issues with sleep, to look at our blogs for the sleep issues, because as we get older, our delta sleep, that's the deep sleep, decreases. And the delta sleep, it's the term called sleep architecture, is the phase of sleep that's necessary for us to repair and to regenerate. So that's one of the things that causes us to expire and leave the planet and leave our bodies, because we just don't have the ability to repair or regenerate anymore. So the more we can stimulate delta sleep, the better off we are. And then we look at physical activity. We'll talk more about that later. We also look at
Focus time. Focus time.
focus. So what does that mean? That means working hard on your business, right? And also doing things to keep your brain active. Then we look at time in, and time in is essentially meditation. So that's why I'm offering you the Smile Into Stress meditation, because it's important for us to stimulate what's called the parasympathetic nervous system. Did you know that there's a part of your nervous system, we can think about picking up a piece of paper, but there are parts of our nervous system that work without us thinking about it. And that's called the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. And when you're in a sympathetic dominant state, that's when you're stressed out. You tend to breathe shallow and high in your chest. Your muscles contract. Your circulation doesn't move well in your body, so you're not getting the nourishment that you need. And you're freaked out, essentially. So we want to move towards the parasympathetic. And when you meditate, that helps to take you to that parasympathetic state where your muscles relax, where your circulation improves, where you become calmer and more peaceful, and you get more towards that goal of contentment or peace in your life. Then we look at over here.
Downtime.
We've got
Downtime.
fun, and we've got downtime, and we've got connection. So with the downtime, that's just chilling out, right? I mean, you see the little logo, if you can see it, somebody sitting under a palm tree. So just chilling is also important. Laying around in bed, hanging out on your deck, doing nothing. It's all valuable time. And then we look at here, the fun. So be like a child, right? Remember to have fun, because joy and bliss is very helpful. Actually, one night I came down with they say a download, where I downloaded the 5-fold path to bliss. And the 5-fold path to bliss, this is available on my website also, are to eliminate what's irritating you, number 1, to get comfortable in your body, because if you hate your body, then you're not going to do well in it. Also to nourish yourself, and nourishing yourself happens on many levels. This delicious food that we have here today, but also it might be art, it might be music, it might be, whatever. For me, I love opera, I love to dance, so those type of things are really, for me, a lot of fun. And then connections, so that's like us. We're a family of women. Our networking entrepreneurial women are Marin, and we make sure that we have fun together. So having connections with people is also one of the factors that helps to have a healthy mind and a long life. Next slide, please.
Just gonna say, since we had our little technical glitch, do people mind if we go over by 5 minutes?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, so we have about 5 minutes and then a few minutes for questions.
Next slide, please. So this is the healthy plate. And you'll notice that there's lots of different colors on it. It says eat from the rainbow. And the reason that you want to eat from the rainbow is because those different colors represent different, they're called phytonutrients, plant-based nutrients. So eating from the rainbow, and then also you'll notice that half of the plate is filled with fruits and vegetables. So if we do that at every meal, maybe we'll get as good as those Loma Linda Jehovah's Witnesses. And then you see a quarter of the plate should be protein, good quality protein. I use a company called Butcher Box that sends things frozen to me. It's humane, it's healthy and wild and all that. And then if you tolerate grains, I wanted to give you a tip that quinoa is a grain that has 40% protein, whereas most other grains are just 14%. So it's particularly important for vegetarians and vegans to get adequate amounts of protein. I suggest quinoa. And then we're looking at movement. So one of the greatest signs of morbidity is loss of muscle mass. And as we get older, we tend to lose muscle mass. So we want to build muscle, and we can do that by strength training. We have an expert in here that helps us with that. And you can do that with bands, you can do that with your own body weight, you can do that with weights, but please be careful whenever you engage in an exercise program. You want to avoid getting hurt, so having a good trainer is useful. And what are all kinds of exercise are really good for you. You know, if you don't like exercising, hike, dance, swim, bike, any kind of thing that gets you moving will add to your longevity and your quality of life. So what does exercise do for you? It helps to improve your circulation, so you get the nutrients delivered to your cells better. It's very good for the heart. Your heart is a muscle. So when we exercise, it helps the heart and also our cardiovascular system with circulation. Also, it helps with our mental focus. So when we exercise, it helps us to have better cognitive abilities. Look at my cheat notes here. And then mood. So depression actually is healed by exercise at the same rate as doing antidepressants. However, antidepressants have negative side effects. Exercise doesn't. And then the last one is sleep. So if you're not active enough during the day, we tend to sit a lot. And you might have heard that the Surgeon General says that sitting is the new smoking. It used to be smoking was the greatest risk factor, but we all sit a lot in our businesses. So you want to be moving towards the day so you get better sleep, so you get that restorative sleep for repair and regeneration. And then the next slide, there's a QR code on it, and you can take a picture of that if you want for the meditation, or I'll have my virtual assistant send it to you if you checked it off on the sign-up sheet. But this is a meditation that comes from the Taoist tradition of the inner smile. And I transformed it so that it would be used with the blessing of my teacher, Master Mantak Chia, so that we transform our stress into vitality. So that's a 15-minute guided meditation that helps you find the places in your body, mind, or spirit where the stress is lodged, and encapsulate it and get it out of your body, mind, and spirit, and then fill up with goodness. And then, in summary, just 3 things. Eat healthy, get moving, and find inner peace. So I've also wanted to let you know about my book, Internal Cleansing, so I know what I'm talking about with nutrition. And then, as a closing, I would like to share this Sufi blessing with you. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Thank you for listening. questions, and you don't have to film this. You can stop.